Get in the know. Non-stop Vikings talk. It's Purple Daily on Score North and ScoreNorth.com.
Welcome in to Daily Vikings Entertainment here. Purple Daily, where we just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die. And every single Wednesday, for all of you who wonder, when are you clowns going to admit that you're wrong? We are the only show in America that actually keeps track of our predictions every single week, going back years, and put statistics next to them. Probably not the smartest thing we've ever done.
No, it's very dumb, in fact, because we get exposed a lot.
I think when we started, we were like, let's put percentages. Let's put a batting average next to these things. Show how correct we are on a regular basis.
Yeah.
It's pretty much the opposite. The show is presented by TCL, one of the world's best-selling consumer electronics brands. They have a new lineup of award-winning TVs delivering the most entertainment with stunning resolution at an affordable cost. Learn more at TCL.com. Inspire greatness with TCL. All right, are you guys ready here? I know it's kind of the dead of the offseason, and we don't have predictions flying off the board like we do before the draft or during the season here. So we're all just kind of stockpiling predictions. But are you ready to be held accountable anyways?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay. So let's hit the music first, and we'll explain how this works, and then we'll do the accountability session.
Most make predictions and then never admit they're wrong. Yeah, that's not Mackie and Judd. This is the place where we just totally own our horrible predictions.
Write this down.
And eat them for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Write that down.
It's Write That Down.
Write it down. You like writing things down.
With Mackie and Judd.
All right. It's 3 Vikings or football or show-related predictions from everybody each week. They must be quantifiable. It's really the only rule. We keep track of completion percentage and touchdowns. And if you want to be, we double booked here. Declan double booked. He double booked. So we're going to have a party here today, which is fine. We got Alex, we got Nate, we got the 3 of us. We'll have 5 people firing predictions. If you want to be like Alex and Nate, you can send Declan a message through the Score North app, and we'll get you scheduled for some time, hopefully this summer. I forwarded you an email last night, Declan, from someone who said it would be a lifelong dream to be part of Write That Down. So if it is a lifelong dream of yours,
what's this person, 6 years old?
To join us.
It's a child,
but we're happy to fulfill that lilifelong dream.
Yeah.
Just send a note through the Score North app.
Sorry, I was a smart ass.
I think you're underestimating, Judd, the power of the sports dad.
I was uncalled for. I'm sorry. I'd like to apologize. I lashed out.
People want to be associated with the sports dad. So speaking of the sports dad, you had nothing come off the board. In lieu of things coming off the board, or sometimes even in addition to, we are going to highlight some predictions that are still on the board.
Wish you hadn't done this.
So you said Lewis Cine will lead the Vikings in interceptions in 2023, but you've been very down on him this offseason, sort of watching the OTAs and the minicamp. So where are you at with this prediction?
I'd like to delete it. I'd like to get rid of it. I'd like to forget about it. I'd like it to be retracted. I'm not down on him. I'm just, in what I'm seeing, is I'm not seeing a guy that's going to get a lot of playing time. So, no, I think this will 100% be wrong.
It's kind of incredible. He's just not in line to start, apparently, going into his second season. But maybe he could still come back and pick off a few passes.
Yep.
All right. Old Macadac said Kevin O'Connell, in his appearance on the show last week, would give each of us a good question or good point. Like, hey, that's a good question, Declan. Phil, that's a wonderful, magnificent. That's the best question I've ever heard, Judd. But he didn't really do any of those things.
Give a single one.
Well, what was interesting was he also, and this sort of opens the door up to what goes on inside KOC's brain. I didn't realize he remembers when he says "good question."
So was that off mic? We talked about that with him.
Yes, we did.
No, but at the end of when we talked to him on mic, I said I was hoping to get a good, because he said I gave you a good question point, Judd, in the press conference a couple days ago.
He's keeping track.
And then on mic, he clearly said I already gave you one this week. So the competitor in Kevin O'Connell is not going to allow him to give out too much praise, which I love.
Yeah, it's tough when they become self-aware of the compliments. Like we used to when we did when we did a 4-hour live radio show, or when we did even like the afternoon show with Rami for a couple years, we would hit the ding in the middle of the interview because we did a lot more. We did a lot more guests, and we were trying to fill hours and hours of live radio every day. And when somebody we kept standings and stuff, and so I don't know, you'd have like, I'm trying to think of an example. You'd have whoever, like Jay Williams or something from ESPN would come on and talk Timberwolves. Judd, that's a good question. We'd hit a ding and it would just like stop the interview and they'd be like, what's happening? Why are you guys celebrating? Because it's hilarious.
Because we just got a point.
Gerson Rosas became self-aware and then he would lean into it, right? He'd be like, Judd, that's a really good question, my man.
He'd give one out per appearance too.
Yeah, and then we could all celebrate with him. So anyways, Kevin O'Connell became self-aware and did not give any of those out. On the board still for me, I'm just wondering what your thoughts are on the viability of this one, Judd, having watched all these practices. So Ty Chandler will have at least 100 carries this year.
I think there's a good chance. Like it was very clear in the OTAs, and then eventually what became really clear was in the mini camps that it appears Kene Nwangwu was the second team and Ty Chandler was the third.
Yeah.
But I mean, that could change. Guys could get hurt. Guys do. So I think there's a very much a fighting chance that this one comes off the board is correct.
Okay. All right. Nothing off the board for the listeners. So I'll throw this one out from Dwayne. Ezra Cleveland, who is set to be a free agent after the season, will be traded this off season. There's always kind of a sneaky like camp or between camp and week one, a trade or something. The Vikings have done it with, or they'll trade a draft pick for someone. What was the edge rusher guy, Ngakoue?
Yeah.
Is there any chance they could do something like this and get an asset for a free agent guard that they're probably not going to sign?
I don't see it. I don't see it because he's still a starter. And I think
he's okay. He's a good run blocker.
Yeah. And the continuity of that line, rightfully so, I think is important to them. So, like, there's a far better chance that just because of his contractual situation, Danielle Hunter gets traded, then they decide to get rid of their starting left guard, who then, if you get something back for him, still needs to be replaced. And I do think that not having a revolving door on that line is probably a pretty important thing.
Yeah. And then, wow, Declan.
Yeah, a lot of red.
Everyone else kind of came away mostly unscathed except for this bloodbath. So Declan said Dalvin Cook will sign with the team in the next 48 hours, which the deadline was 10 a.m. Central Time last Friday.
Still deciding, still hasn't signed.
And now he's like meeting with DeAndre Hopkins, and they might link their arms together and go somewhere, go to the Jets, go to wherever.
Old folks home.
The geriatric skill position
Yeah,
players.
Exactly. Listen, when we played, it was a lot tougher.
You said Danielle Hunter's contract would be resolved by today's, write that down. There's no deadline here. I think I don't know that we're going to get a resolution until training camp. Unless both sides are really playing nice.
No, I think you're probably right.
Yeah, it's this is going to be a tough one to figure out. I saw I think Mina Kimes and PFF Brad tweeting about this yesterday too, that what the heck do you even do here with this just unique situation that we've talked at length about, just of his injury history and his age and how much do you want to commit and how just naturally difficult it's going to be.
And this is a real dead period. So like there's not a lot of, I don't think there's a lot of phone calls going on right now.
Yeah. Like what do you okay. So training camp starts in 5 weeks. All right. You call the agent. Hey, what you want? Here's a deal. What do you want to do? And I mean, there's no incentive to do a deal now until you get closer to training camp.
Yep.
So, and then of course, Declan, you predicted that we'd get at least 3 collective good questions or good points from Kevin O'Connell.
So
didn't happen.
I'm going to take a guess here and peel back the curtain a little bit on this one too, because when Kevin O'Connell started, if you guys recall, in like his first year or his first few months, he gave out good questions constantly. Like he would say, good question, good question, good question. And it's not unusual for PR to step in and be like, you don't have to say they're all good questions.
Oh, you think it was a course correction?
And I'm going to peel back the curtain a little bit on this, and I'm going to give you a Spielman example. As Phil will recall for sure. Yes, again. So at the combine 1 year, Spielman was on, I think, Sirius NFL radio. And it was at the time it was him and Wabi. And I think what Wabi like took him to the thing or sat there. Anyway, Spielman gets done, takes off the headset and said, "How did I do on agains?"
Okay, so
someone
made him
conscious of the fact that he would say again when starting a sentence of something he hadn't addressed. Because can't be like, again, Kirk Cousins. Well, hold on a second. You just started to talk about Kirk.
Yes, and I think we heard this for years and years. So for maybe there's new Vikings fans that don't know what we're talking about. 10 years ago, 12 years ago, when Rick Spielman was early in his sort of doing media as a GM, he would sit down for an interview. The first question you could ask him, "Rick, how's it going, man? You having fun today at training camp?" And he would say, "Again, training camp is great." Every sentence started with "again." So maybe KOC. So Declan, even with the bloodbath, still leading in completion percentage. 37% completions, 2% ahead of me.
Wowza.
I'm just a 0.5% above Judd. So a tight race here at the top of the completion percentage board. Listeners at 29.2%. Old Macadac still leads the touchdown race with 5 touchdowns to Declan and Judd's 4. Listeners with 1 all-time. Stats since 2001 here. Declan, 35.5% completions, just ahead of Judd at 34.9. I'm at 32.5. Listeners all the way down at 23.6. You all have a long way to go to catch up with the touchdown king, Ol Macadac here with 38 tuds in his career. All right, let's get them in here. Our guest listener predictors here. We got Alex. We got Nate in the house. Gentlemen, welcome in here. Let's start with Alex. What is your background as we were talking beforehand? You've got the Purple Daily original hat on here. We appreciate the support. What's your background as a Vikings fan?
Yeah, it really starts. I've actually never lived in Minnesota, but I used to fly out there in summers as a kid to spend time with my grandparents. And my grandfather used to take me to Twins games in the summer, picked up the Twins and then picked up the Vikings as well. And really my first Vikings memory is that Gary Anderson missed field goal, 98. I mean, I still remember the disappointment. Still hate the Giants a few years later for that 41 donut. But I'm right in that sweet spot of really never seeing true Viking success and kind of mediocrity. So I definitely embrace it before I die lifestyle here.
Yes, and it is a lifestyle. It is a lifestyle. Nate, what about you, man? When did you first become a Vikings fan?
So I'm also not from Minnesota. I've been to Minnesota just to watch Vikings games. I was born in rural Illinois. My uncle, for whatever reason, I have no idea why he was a Vikings fan, but he decided that I needed to join in the pain of being a Vikings fan. So since I was a little kid, the first football game I ever went to, anything, college, high school, NFL, was a Minnesota Vikings game. It was a game against the Carolina Panthers, I think in 98.
Wow. I'm going to look that game up right now. 1998 Vikings reference. I want to see. I mean, the Vikings won that game, right? Because the only game they lost was against Tampa.
Yep.
Vikings, let's see here. So they didn't. Was it a preseason game?
Maybe it wasn't the Panthers.
Jacksonville?
Jacksonville.
They kicked Jacksonville's ass in that game.
Yeah. All I remember was being a 13-year-old kid and being like, "We're the greatest team of all time, obviously.
Yes.
So let's just win the Super Bowl, guys."
That Jacksonville game, they just, I think it was 50-3 or 50-7 or something.
They put a 50 spot on them.
Beat the brakes off the Jags. So, all right, well, let's do this. We're going to go Alex to Nate, Judd, Declan, and then all rounded out here. We'll take 3 trips around the room. Predictions must be football or show related in some form and be quantifiable. Those are pretty much the only rules here on Write That Down. So, Alex, start us off, man. What's your first prediction?
All right, so I've got a CJ Hamster prediction here.
Yes.
For the 2023 Minnesota Vikings. So I looked it up. Last year with KOC, he had 10 receptions for 86 yards. career high is 17 receptions for 149 yards in 2019. I don't think you spend 4.4 million guaranteed on a guy on a fullback like that if he doesn't have plans. And KOC answered Judd's question, his good question in the press conference the other day. There's no rule against having 3 tight ends, and there's no rule against having CJ Ham line up in the backfield and then
Let's go.
and then move out on the flat. So I see a lot of trickeration this year. I see a lot of heavy package, and I see a lot of running to set up the pass with CJ Ham. And so write this down. CJ Ham in 2023 will have career highs in receptions, more than 17, receiving yards, more than 149, and total touchdowns, more than 2 in 2023.
Wow. I love a good
Find
CJ,
some
the
ham.
hamster.
Yeah.
A CJ
yeah.
Ham
Ham
prediction.
stock.
We are at the CJ Ham prediction portion of the Write
right.
That Down off season here. Thanks to Alex. This is great.
Write that down.
All right, Nate, what's your first prediction?
All right, so my first prediction is going to be a little bit of a long ball. I think the Vikings are going to have 50-plus sacks this year as a team.
Okay.
So we were at 38 last year, give or take, I think. And I think a couple years before that, we were like the 48 mark. I think this year with B-Flow and his process, I think we're going to be really in their face about stuff. So
Yes.
you guys have mentioned many times that it's kind of going to be a boomer bust kind of situation where we're going to be pushing a lot. And I think that's going to be the case. I think we're going to have 50-plus sacks. I'm not sure how the yards after the fact are going to be. And I'm also trying to fix my camera. So sorry.
Oh, by the way, I think Nate may have stumbled onto a new great defensive slogan for B-Flow's defense. Get in their face about stuff. Let's go. On 3. Let's make it happen.
Break.
Ready, break. All right, Judd.
Write it down. You like writing things down.
All right, this is off something that we discussed yesterday regarding explosive plays, which the Vikings, of course, had some struggles with last season.
Yep.
The Vikings will finish top 10 in the NFL in explosive plays this season.
Okay.
So I think the tweaks, the changes, Addison hopefully playing well will allow Justin Jefferson more room to operate. So top 10, Declan, in explosive plays.
And we're
Is that-
defining that as a 20-yard play?
Yes, whatever the definition of PFF is, I believe it's 20 yards or more.
Okay.
Okay.
Why don't you just put explosive and
Yeah.
then old Macadac
We
will
call it explosives
do his thing.
in the business, plural, just because we expect
Explosives?
so many explosives. Yeah,
The explosive. Do football people call them explosive?
they do. They call them explosives.
How many explosives did we have last week? It sounds like Nate is lighting an explosive right now.
Yeah, actually,
That's what's happening.
TikTok.
Get out of the building.
We've got to get out of here. Get to the chopper.
Get out.
The
On the
chopper.
lookout.
All right, over to Declan.
All right, my first prediction here. I'm actually going to sell some Ty Chandler stock if he's indeed running back 3 right now going into training camp. So write this down. A little bit of a shocker here, and I believe this would be a touchdown. Ty Chandler won't make the 53-man roster.
Whoa, whoa, whoa!
That's a
You're
touchdown.
selling that. You're selling
Yeah,
all of
I
the
didn't
stock.
see. I didn't
All
see
of the
this
stock.
coming. I didn't
What?
see this coming. I did not. Oh my God.
I think
What?
Longwu has propelled himself above him, and then it's between a rookie Dwayne McBride, who was an absolute beast at UAB, and Ty Chandler. Give me the rookie. So I think Ty Chandler has played himself out of the 53. That's where I'm at.
Enough of this blasphemy.
Write
Okay,
that
I'm
down.
going to call an
boy.
audible here on my first
Oh,
prediction.
boy.
Okay, and I think this is gonna. I mean, this is not like a touchdown or anything, but in week 1, either Ty Chandler and or Dwayne McBride will get at least 1 carry. Okay, it's just a very simple prediction.
Yeah, that's no touchdown, but yeah, that's
I just
that
want
that puts
those
them on the
guys
roster.
are going to be on the roster. One of those guys will be in the mix and getting the ball in week
Yep.
1. So either Chandler or McBride
Wow,
will get a carry in week 1.
Declan.
Write it down.
So I'm
Write this
fine,
down.
but just so I'm sure here, isn't the or predictions like kind of wishy-washy? Haven't we had a little bit of tough situations with and or predictions? Like, are you trying to say, because if one of these two gets it, I guess I understand what you get the credit, but
Yeah.
it's kind of weird to me.
What's weird about it?
Because we've had a couple predictions with Judd, like if it's or one of these guys, like I could just see the write that down cork potentially having to
But if
come
one of
into
them gets
play
a
here.
carry, he gets the point.
Okay. All right.
Come on,
fine.
St. Cloud State education.
No,
Come
I
on now.
understand. I
It's
understand
as cut
how
and
it
dry
works
as it
there.
gets.
Yeah. Okay.
I think there's been ones where where there's a vagueness of, like, what was the one that we debated last week that Lawyer Chase came down and said,
Yeah, which
no.
people
Or the
were
the
very
Lynx game
upset
didn't take place.
at Lawyer
Well, that's-
Chase. I was
Yeah.
advised by lawyers that I should appeal, and I said I'm not going to. But I was basically Chase was called out by a lot of people, and I don't want to name them.
Yeah, it's not the and ors, it's the ifs. The ifs are the ones that get you.
yeah.
I got bit in the ass by an act of God, and I got screwed on that. But that's fine. Let's just keep going.
It's precedent. It's precedent.
Write this down.
All right, back to Alex for your second prediction.
It was a bit of a layup, but it is what it is.
Oh, it's a layup, yeah.
So I'm going to do a UDFA prediction here. We are in the middle of the off season. I'm a little concerned. I think this is a touchdown, but you guys tell me. I'm a little concerned about one of these, but I'm just going to go for it. Andre Carter II. Write this down. Andre Carter II, Najee Thompson, and Ivan Pace Jr. will make the 53-man roster for the Minnesota Vikings in 2023. I think Najee, there's a decent chance he goes to the practice squad and then becomes a call-up, but that's not what I'm calling here. Week 1, 53-man roster. I think Najee's a bit of risk, but Hatt needs his special team ace, and he's going to get it with Najee.
So just to be clear, though, you're saying week 1 game that they're on the 53, because there's always guys that make the 53 initially and then the next day get cut because they're trying to stash them and get cute. But you're saying that on the 53, week 1 game.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, that's a touchdown.
Yeah. I like it. I like it.
Write this down.
They're going to need some of these guys to step up because they just, Chris, you can laugh all you want at Chris Boyd, for instance, but that dude was maybe their best special teams player, for example. And maybe
Najee's
Josh
the
Metellus
Chris Boyd
graduates to the defense at some point. So, all right, back to Nate Nate with a new angle here.
Hey, professional. Definitely coming for your job.
I told him what to do, but yeah, it's totally fine. Yeah, that's all right. Yeah.
Whoa!
No, hold on. This is not a phone camera, sir. Okay, this is too quality for that.
Nice.
Declan taking punches today.
Actually, Declan Declan is my favorite. To be perfectly honest, his sass is what really gets me through my day. So back to my prediction. So my prediction, I'm going to stick with the defense, but I'm going to change it a little bit. But I'm going to stay with sacks. It's going to be a parlay sort of. So Harrison Smith is going to have a resurgence, and he is going to have a career season record sack total. So he's going to have the most sacks he's had in his career in one season. And then also with that, I think Lewis Seen is going to see the field a lot more than you guys expect. But in turn, the safety team core is going to have the most amount of sacks a safety core has had in the Vikings history. So like, I already said we were going to have 50 plus sacks just in general, but I think two pieces. Harrison Smith is going to have a career season high sack total, and the safety team core is going to have the Minnesota Vikings most amount of sacks by a safety group.
Okay. We got that, and pray for me as I try to track that down at the end of the season historically by going back to. Now we're going to go back to when they started tracking sacks in 1983 or something. None of this unofficial stuff. I just find it fascinating. At some point, the NFL or Pro Football Reference, it took them like 40 years. Like, why don't we just have intern Bill go back and watch every game ever from like 1950 to 1983 so we can give Carl Eller his correct sack total?
Yeah. And in the 70s, how are you not tracking that?
It's very odd.
Like the Viking, the purple people eaters, we're not tracking their sacks, but they have a lot of them.
At some point, someone said, okay, if you tackle the quarterback behind the line of scrimmage before he throws a pass, then that should be a separate statistic, right?
Write this down.
But it took football like 50 years to
1981. It's ridiculous. All right. Playing off that last one, I will give you this. Write that down. And that is Josh Metellus will lead Viking safeties in sacks.
Ooh.
Josh Metellus will be the guy that leads Viking safeties in sacks.
This is insider trading here because only one of us has been on the field at practice with
Hey,
field
who
goggles.
went out and got their face burned? Who went out and blood,
fault.
sweat, and tears at TCO? Insider trading born from a dedication to watching the product.
Yes. All right, Declan.
Write this down.
Judd, training camp they haven't set a date for training camp yet, correct?
Not yet.
Okay,
It'll
so
be
let's
late this month.
The date is TBD. But write this down. Justin Jefferson will not have a contract extension by the time training camp starts. So the contract extension will not have started yet by the time training camp opens.
You saw the Jeremy Fowler report, didn't you?
I did.
Yesterday.
What was that report?
It was that because of the in-depthness of this contract, that it's going to take some time, and that the Vikings are in, quote, as I recall, the report was no hurry, to which I then sent a text to said reporter and said, did you really report this? Because that sounds sort of weird. And he goes, not really. He explained it as it's just going to take some time. Like the Vikings, it's not that the Vikings don't feel an urgency. It's that it's just a very, as we've discussed for weeks now, convoluted contract.
So off the record, do you think he holds out?
No.
No,
And I think it gets done. I think it gets done early in camp. The report, though, basically insinuated that the Vikings are like, it's got 2 years left. It's fine. That's not how the Vikings feel.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to drag if you really want him around. You know what the price is going to be, like $35 million a year.
And by the way, it ain't going down.
No, it don't. Well, it only goes down if he. I'm not even going to finish.
Yeah,
that
don't
sentence.
even say that. Don't say that. Why would you say that?
Not going to put it out
Write
there.
this down.
Not going to put it out there. Write this down, okay? So, I think it was Alex. Yeah, you predicted the CJ Ham. You think CJ Ham is going to catch some passes and be more of a threat here. I think your radar is close, but I think Josh Oliver is going to be one of the meat and potatoes guys in these heavy packages that benefit. So I'm going to say this. Josh Oliver, who actually caught quite a few passes in college, will set a career high in receptions for the Vikings this season. Now, he only has to get to 15, but I'm pretty confident that Josh Oliver has more in the tank as a pass catcher. So I'm going to say he sets a career high in receptions. He had 14 with the Ravens last year, only 26 in his career. So he's going to be more of a factor. That's what I'm saying. All right.
Write this down.
Okay, back to Alex here. Your third and final prediction.
I think both can be true, Phil.
There's plenty of room for fullbacks and backup tight ends to eat. Let's get it.
Yep. So my last prediction here, I'm going to go into B-flow defense as well. Piggyback on Nate's trend. So the defense last year was 31st in total yards allowed, 28th in total points allowed. If you looked at Lewis Seen's interview on what the defense is going to look like this year, his quote was speed, aggressiveness, and all-out malice. Malice.
Oh,
yeah.
Malice. Let's go. Let's get it.
Give me some B-flow. So write this down. The Vikings will finish the regular season in 2023 with both a top 10 total defensive points defense and top 10 total yards allowed defense in the NFL.
It's possible.
Wow.
It
is possible. I mean, defenses fluctuate.
Yep.
And
You
down.
just need a bunch of fast guys that kind of know what they're doing
With malice.
Put pressure on the quarterback.
Yep.
You know.
Play with malice is a great slogan.
I think we got two great potential slogans here that we've developed here, thanks to Alex and Nate. So, well, Alex, since you've got this life-changing platform here, is there anyone in your life you'd like to thank that brought you to this pinnacle moment on Purple Daily?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go true Freddie Mitchell fashion here, and I'm going to thank a body part. I'd like to thank my brain for getting me here, for getting me my beautiful wife and my awesome kids, for bringing me to South Florida to enjoy the sunshine, and for ultimately, giving me the Vikings fandom, the ups and downs of it. But I embrace the lifestyle, and And glad to be a fan. Glad to be on the show, guys. Appreciate it.
Awesome, man. Great
Thank you.
stuff, Alex. Good luck on your predictions, sir. We'll do it again sometime.
Thank you.
Thanks for your support. All right, Nate, your third and final prediction.
It's going to be another parlay. So the Minnesota Vikings are going to go 10-7. They're going to take first in the division, but they're going to split with the Lions.
Ooh, okay.
So reason why, and not that you need my thought process, but
No, you're good. You're good.
I think we won 3 more games than we should have last year, just by and large, luck, all of the things that were involved with that. But then if you look at it, I don't think we have particularly substantially regressed as a team as a whole. And the pieces that we have filled in, especially if you look at defense, especially at the top, right, with B-Flow and in that defense, I think we're not going to see I think we're going to see regression. Yes, but I don't think we have regressed as a 10-7 team as a whole. So I think we're just going to be where we were last year, but just maybe a little bit more flashy. And so we'll be 10-7 rather than the 13-4. But then I think the Lions are sneaky good. I am in Michigan, so that is a little respect for them. 10 will get us to the division, I think, in my opinion. I don't think you need to do more than that in the North right now, unfortunately.
Yeah, it is very, very possible they could lose more games but be better.
Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, you can't have 8 fourth quarter comeback wins and be like, oh yeah, we're gonna do that again. We'll make it 9.
Yeah. So, well, great stuff here. Multiple different cameras, dealing with tech on the fly. Just an all-time great performance here. Catchphrases for the defense.
Thank
So,
you,
Nate,
everyone.
since you've got this life-changing platform as well, is there anyone you'd like to thank that brought you here?
Yeah, no, I'd have to thank my uncle for making me a fan as a young boy and giving me a starter jacket in the 90s that said Vikings on it, which sold me completely in that lifestyle.
That's why I became a Charlotte Hornets fan.
Hey,
God.
absolutely every single one of us that were raised in the 90s have a Charlotte Hornets starter
Yes.
jacket. I guarantee
Somebody
it.
It was a super cool logo. They had Larry Johnson, Alonzo Mourning, Muggsy Bogues,
Yeah.
Steph Curry's
Muggsy Bogues,
dad.
Giving
Grandmama?
hope for all short kings everywhere. You know what I mean? Anyway. So yeah, and I also my son, my 5-year-old son, he despises me taking him to school because I always put on Purple Daily, which he calls football news. And that's all he knows. All he knows is the Minnesota Vikings are cool, and that's it. And so he just is like, yeah, the NFL is only Minnesota Vikings. The other teams are just other Minnesota Viking teams that my team is beating.
Yeah. We should maybe launch a new vertical called Football News, where we just
Perfect.
talk about the news around football every single day and just play the football sounder. Be great. Well, awesome stuff, Nate. Appreciate you coming on. Good luck with your predictions, and we'll definitely get you on again sometime, man.
Thanks, guys.
All right, thank
See
you.
ya.
Great stuff. Couple of great guest listener predictors there, boys. Before we go any further here with our 3 final predictions, let's shout out our friends at AG1, all right? Old Macadac discovered AG1 about 6 years ago on one of my favorite podcasts. So now it's kind of fun on this podcast to get to take AG1 to all of you. So if you're not great about maybe getting your nutrients in with regular food throughout the day, AG1 is nutritional insurance to start your day, or maybe a boost in the middle of the day. 1 scoop mixed with a bottle of water or a glass of water. You got your full allotment of 75 high-quality ingredients that give you important daily nutrients. Brain fog for me, lifted, energy levels heightened, helps with gut health. I just feel dialed in, ready to unleash football news on a regular basis here on this show. If a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplement routine, AG1 is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Go to drinkag1.com/purple daily. That's drinkag1.com/purple daily. Boys, yesterday we had a great life-changing lunch at 3 Jack, and the smoked nachos.
Oh.
One order wasn't enough. Our guy John Seidel, who oversees our sales department here at Hubbard in the Twin Cities, said, "Hey, let's order another round of those bad boys. They're so good."
I just saw the chicken sandwich that was just on the screen right there, too, that I was able to down. Great coleslaw options as well. Yeah, 3 Jack, awesome spot. Not only can you get some golf sim in, which I love to do, you'd also can get a great lunch. It's a great patio spot. I mean, we're in the 90s right now in the Twin Cities, so if you're around the North Loop area, maybe you're going to a Twins game, maybe you're going to go see a show, go to 3Jack and get some nice grub there before wherever you're going. And, of course, book those bays as well. You can go to 3jack.com to take care of that reservation. Go check out 3Jack and 3jack.com to book that res.
And, speaking of 90 degrees, where a great place to be to cool off would be? It's kind of a butchered sentence. A lake on a Bennington pontoon, courtesy of Power Lodge and Miller Marine. These Bennington pontoons are game changers out on the water, and you can stop by at one of 3 locations for Power Lodge in Brainerd, Onamia, Ramsey. Check them out, or Miller Marine in St. Cloud, Judd.
And just look at that right now. Fishing, hanging out with the fam, relaxation. There's
Declan.
This is the time of year. Yeah, exactly right. This is the time of year where you've got a couple months, 3 months or so max to really get out and enjoy on that Bennington. Take advantage right now. Throttle therapy is what they call it, and throttle therapy is what we need in this state.
Yes, powerlodge.com or millermarine.com.
There's Judd.
There's Judd doing a somersault off of Bennington.
Yep,
Crazy,
that's me.
Man.
That's
powerlodge.com and
millermarine.com. After watching the Twins last night, that's me.
What was it, 10-0 at one point?
Yep, it was 10.
That's when you jumped in the water.
And then they scored a few runs late. And they said, well, Rocco, some really good news to end that game, right? Some positives to take. And
was that the angle after the game?
It was the first question.
Didn't he? Was it last night or
he shot
2 nights ago where he said that he didn't have much to say because this is the lowest you can possibly be?
That was last night after he was told, hey, there were some positives at the end of that game, some home runs. And he's like, no, there's
no, there was not.
Why even? Okay.
Write this
All right,
down.
Jeb, what's your third and final prediction?
Here it is.
He's not looking for that out. He doesn't want to spin it positive.
I got you. I got him down.
Don't ask him a positive question after his team was down 10-0. He's not, horror. We hit a couple home runs at the end of the game.
I don't know.
Great. He wants
what
to
I
rip
think
his
he did
team.
post game?
Let him
went
rip his
to 3Jack,
team.
got a golf bay, had a great time. That's what I hear. And then he went and bought a Bennington and said, I'm going to get out of this godforsaken state. Okay, write this down. Arizona and Tampa Bay will finish with the 2 worst records in the NFL this season.
Ooh.
So Arizona and Tampa Bay, no, not in order. Arizona and Tampa Bay will have
right? Did you say or, Declan?
I said in order,
yeah.
but that also
in order.
works too.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
They will have the 2 worst records. I don't know who's going to draft 1 and 2, and I don't want to say draft because it could be traded, and that could be used against me.
Oh.
So I'm just telling
you're saying
but you do have to have, like, by the end of the standings, like, if who's
they'll
one
have the
and
2 worst
2.
records.
Okay.
They will have the 2 worst records.
Got it.
I'm not giving you an order. I'm saying they will be the bottom 2 teams in the National Football League.
Okay.
But I'm not going to say draft picks because if they trade the draft picks, I could get bitten in the ass.
Right, but like if one of them finishes with the 5th worst record and then trades up to 2, you could have covered your.
I don't want that. No. I thought about that. I don't want that. I don't want that smoke. The smoke I want is that these 2 teams are going to suck.
Sounds good. All right, back to Declan.
Write this down.
All right, write this down. A little bit of a goofy one, but we were just talking actually about great NBA starter jacket jerseys and all that stuff. And this guy was a little after that era, but still, I think this is going to happen. So Byron Murphy Jr.'s uncle is Mike Bibby, which we briefly have talked about. So write this down. Mike Bibby will make a public appearance at a Vikings game this season. They will show him on the Jumbotron. They will do something. He'll be honored on the field. They'll be Byron Murphy Jr.'s uncle enjoying a Vikings game like they love to do. I mean, U.S. Bank loves to shout out anyone special that's there. So this might be a little tough to quantify, and Judd's probably going to have to be my eyes and ears.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, if I miss it, I miss it.
And I mean, but it's Mike Bibby. Like anytime they show someone, like all the Vikings reporters are all going to tweet the same damn thing at the same time saying Mike Bibby is at the Vikings game. So there'll be enough evidence here that it'll happen. So write it down. Mike Bibby will make a public appearance at a Vikings game this season.
Do we know where he lives now, Mike Bibby?
I don't know if it's still Arizona. I do follow him on Instagram.
I was just pulling up his Instagram here. Let's see. It says he's a shoe influencer. Original brand Jordan athlete, NCAA champion, NBA vet, 14 years, shoe influencer. Okay.
I know he was in that Big 3 league that they had for a little bit. He was like part of the initial ones for that. And I think it looks like he did coach high school ball in Phoenix. So yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
I'm just trying to see if what locations he could pop up in. Could be anywhere. No, they have these things called planes too. You could just hop on one.
But it has to be at it's going to be at a Vikings game.
Yes.
So like anywhere, and so like if Fox shows him at a game in Chicago, that counts.
I have
If
it as
the
a
Vikings are
game.
playing in Chicago. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
at a
That's what I'm
Unless
saying.
you want to open it up to Mike Bibby will be spotted in
That's what
public
I'm
at some
saying.
point.
game.
Well, no, I just want to make sure that you're not just confining it to the 8 home games.
What if it's or? What if it's Mike?
Or only in the NFC.
You know, you
North.
guys laugh now, and then it gets put in front of Lawyer Chase, and you get absolutely screwed. You'll know how it feels.
Oh man. Okay, write this down. I'm gonna fade Dalvin.
Write this down.
Dalvin Cook will finish with fewer than 1,000 yards rushing this season.
Oh, now he's gone. Okay.
Fewer than 1,000 yards rushing this season.
All right.
Could be because of injury. Could be because of attrition, regression. It could be split carries, but
So
he will
he's
have
cooked
fewer
if he
than
does
1,000
that.
yards.
He's basically done if he does
Or
that.
or he could just be part of a really good running back by committee. You know, maybe he
He wants
only
a
gets
starting job.
140 carries or something. I don't
He'll
know.
be very disappointed if that happens to him.
So those are your write that down predictions, your accountability session. We should also tell the audience too about Livia, Judd, because Livia is very helpful to Purple Daily listeners looking to lose weight this summer.
Absolutely. Look at the guy on the left. Look at the guy on the right, and understand this.
We should
It's
put
the
Mike
same
Bibby's
guy.
photo next to these and see.
It's the
Oh my
same
God.
guy. No, we don't need that because what we're looking at on the right there is a chiseled, handsome man, a dapper man. And why? It's not because of him. It's not because of Sports Dad. It's because of Livia Weight Control Centers. And have I got an offer for you? In fact, I'm going to say it slowly because it's going to knock your socks off if you're trying to lose weight. How would you like to have lost 20 pounds or more and gotten it all for free? Because right now, your first 8 weeks are free, and Livia is going to help you take off 20 pounds. And you know what? Perhaps you're just getting started. Clothes fit. You'll look great, feel great. And most importantly, you know how to eat. 855-GO-LIVIA, livia.com, livea.com. Go from chunky to dapper like the Sports Dad.
Yes, amen. All right, boys. Good session today. Really good write that down session.
Write it down. You like
Double
writing
book,
things
but it was
down?
fine.
Some,
You want to do it?
I'm not asking to
You want
do
to
it.
do it?
I'm not asking to do it.
Okay.
I think we
Yeah.
should do a job swap
do it?
for like 1 week.
Mm-hmm.
Judd, you
Oh, are you
run
kidding?
all of
You know
Score
what?
North Productions, social
what?
media, and you book all the write that down guests.
I did my behind the scenes time at the Star Tribune in the 90s when you guys were crapping your pants. Okay, I'm not coming back. I'm not making a comeback.
What was the
That's fair.
what
point.
was on your guys' old radio show with Harrigan? The bets you guys did, like Phil had to come in and do the updates. Judd had to like give
Yeah.
Harrigan a massage or something. Like what? The
Oh,
heck
no.
happened?
I had
intern
to
Charlie.
Charlie's feet at the state fair. I had to massage.
God.
It wasn't that bad. At one point, I sang the national anthem on the air,
On the show, yeah.
and I think I sang
Doesn't
"Oh
sound-
Canada" too.
Oh,
Yeah,
would
you did
prefer to
okay.
sing "Oh Canada." I feel like
Hey, hot take.
Yes.
It's a better song.
it
Oh,
is a better anthem.
it's a way better song.
It's got a better. It's got a better melody. It's got a better hook.
It's not even close, in my opinion.
Yeah, America. But yeah, and then
And
I
they
had
all-
to. I also at one point had to get. I can't remember what the specifics of the bet were, but we did a 4-hour show in the cold morning of it was like 55 degrees at the state
God.
fair, and I had to have a bucket of water, like cold water, dumped on me before every segment. I had to be soaking wet
That's-
the entire show.
That's just
Stefan Diggs came by at one
And did
point and dumped a bucket of water on me. It was for the first couple hours. I was like, "This is fine. This is fine." By the end of the show, I feel like I was going into hypothermia.
yeah.
It was one of those cold days.
Yeah, that's
So we should
not
bring those
smart.
bets back, the show bets. Let's do it. I want to see Judd massage Declan's feet
No,
live on
I don't.
Purple
want-
Daily.
No, I don't.
No, I think those days are done. Charlie
Those are
was
such
fine,
like
though.
such weird radio things. Hey,
Yep. Go by. Hey, everybody.
hilarious. All right, well, every Wednesday, the only show in America that actually keeps track of our predictions. Write that down here on Purple Daily, Daily Vikings Entertainment.